I'm Matt Hochberg, and this is the first in a series of videos that's going to be looking at planning a Royal Caribbean cruise. We're big fans of planning Royal Caribbean cruises. After all, we have RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, which many of you have been checking out for a long time now, seeing the news information about Royal Caribbean cruises that's out there. And we wanted to go beyond just news and talk about the process of planning a cruise with Royal Caribbean, because after all, as fun as going on a cruise is, for people like us that really enjoy everything about Royal Caribbean, planning the cruise can be just as fun, maybe not as much, but just as fun as going on that Royal Caribbean cruise. And we want you to be a part of it. So this is a open, transparent, interactive opportunity for you to share in our planning of a Royal Caribbean cruise from the beginning, from when we're going to start figuring out what we want to do, where we want to go, and all that good stuff, to being on the ship. How did it go on there, documenting what we did, and after the cruise, talking about what we did and you know, what changes we would have made and things we did, what we liked, what we didn't like, that sort of stuff. So why are we going on a cruise to begin with? Well, cruising has been a real passion for our family. We've gone on many different cruises over the years with many different cruise lines, Royal Caribbean, Disney, Norwegian, but we just always come back to Royal Caribbean, and I think the reason why we always end up cruising with Royal Caribbean is because of the value. You see, Royal Caribbean, I really feel, has a great balance between what the cruise costs and what it gets you. I really feel like it's a sweet spot that Royal Caribbean really does a great job with. And on that same point, Royal Caribbean just offers so much for us, not only as a family, because Royal Caribbean is a great family cruise line, but I think everybody in the group that's going there. So, you know, for me and my wife, who really enjoy it, cruising, you know, the relaxing, the restaurants, we're big fans of that. You know, the shows, the entertainment, and also my 2-year-old daughter who's going on a cruise with us, who, you know, is now really starting to get cruising and starting to enjoy the whole experience. And so there's a lot to being offered there. So we decided on a Royal Caribbean cruise, but then we had to decide, okay, well, where are we going to go? Well, we looked at where Royal Caribbean goes, and they're a worldwide company, as many of you already know. They cruise to all locations around the world. But pretty early on, we decided, you know, we're probably not going to do an international cruise simply because we don't want to fly to a location outside of the country, a long flight, like, you know, many hours. So European cruises, Asian cruises, as much as we'd love to do them, just not in the cards this time. And that's because of our daughter. We love her to death, but she's not the best flyer in the world, at least not at this age. So we ruled that out. So we wanted to do a cruise that was going out of the United States. And we live in the Orlando, Florida area. And the great thing about living in Florida is there's so many cruises that go out of Florida. In fact, Royal Caribbean has 4 different ports in our state that have cruises going out of them. So you've got Tampa, Port Canaveral, Port Everglades, and Miami. So with our cruising out of Florida, we kind of narrowed it down to that state. And the great thing about, obviously, cruising out of Florida is that we don't have to fly. We can drive to any of the ports, which is perfect for us. And so one of the things we wanted to do was we said, okay, well, let's look at the different cruises that are going out of Florida. The first one that caught our eye was actually Liberty of the Seas, that was going out of Port Everglades on a Western Caribbean itinerary to Cozumel, Honduras. And this seemed like a really good idea for us because this kind of a cruise allowed us to, it's 5 days, you know, not too short, not too long, good price as well. And it served a port that we'd never been to before, which was Honduras. So something new is always nice, right? And, you know, it seemed like a really good idea. Liberty Seas is a great ship. The thing that my wife pointed out, and I didn't notice it until later, was that, you know, Liberty Seas was only doing a 5-night, and the interesting thing about 5-night cruises is they don't always leave on the same day. They don't leave always on Sundays or Tuesdays or whatever. It changes based on the week, and in this particular week that we're looking at, it was leaving on a Monday. And the problem with leaving on a Monday is that you need 5 days off from work to take. Well, if we're going to take 5 days off of work, we may as well look at a 7-night cruise, because most 7-night cruises leave on the weekends. And if it's the same amount of days off from work, we can get extra days on a cruise, which for us is definitely a plus. We love going on cruises. So we decided, you know what, 7-night cruise might be a better option. And we quickly found ourselves looking at Freedom of the Seas. Now, Freedom of the Seas goes out of Port Canaveral. And Freedom of the Seas and Port Canaveral is a great mix because Port Canaveral is very, very close to the Orlando area. I know we live here, which is great even for us. But even people that are flying into Florida, Orlando is just a great airport because there's so many flights that go to Orlando. It's such a huge tourist hub to begin with. And Port Canaveral is so close to Orlando. It's so easy to get to. It's about a 40-minute drive from Orlando International Airport. Really easy to get to, fast, quick. You know, it's probably one of the easier ports to make, considering you're not actually flying into the port. And then Freedom of the Seas is a beautiful ship. We have sailed with them before, doing a Western Caribbean itinerary, and we loved everything about it. It was obviously recently refurbished, to accommodate some of the new Oasis class amenities that were added to the ship. So it's beautiful, it's perfect. It's got a nursery, which is perfect for our daughter. And, it just seemed like a great fit. It was going Eastern Caribbean this time. My daughter and my wife have never done Eastern Caribbean. I did it a couple of years ago, but I haven't done it recently. So I said, this seems like a really good, once again, balance, for everyone involved here. So one of the things that we decided was, okay, Freedom of the Sea, 7-night cruise, sounds good. And that was the beginning of our cruise. We wanted to now take you with us in the whole process and document everything that's going to be going on. So in future episodes, we're going to bring some of our friends on to talk about Freedom of the Seas itself and what's so great about Freedom of the Seas, what's there to do on Freedom of the Seas, because there's so many things that goes on during that ship, and share what we're planning on doing, what we'd like to do, and kind of go over that whole process. Then we're going to look at the Eastern Caribbean itinerary and the 3 islands that we are going to be visiting, which is Coco Cay, Royal Caribbean's private island, St. Thomas, and St. Martin. Both great, actually all 3 of them are great ports, and this will be an interesting experience for us and kind of decide what we want to do on each port and how we want to do and all that good stuff. So, this will be a really, really fun experience for us all. And we want you to be part of it. Throughout this, you can always feel free to email us. Matt@royalcaribbeanblog.com is where you can always email us with any concerns you have. And, of course, we love social media. So if you're on Twitter, we're on Twitter as well, at the RCL blog. And on Facebook, we are at facebook.com/Royal Caribbean Blog. So any way that you can be part of this show, we want you to be. If you have tips, if you think we're missing something, if you've done something before on one of these ports maybe, or on the ship, and you think that would be a great idea, we'd love to hear from you. No detail too small. Please, please, please share with us. Because, again, this is an interactive experience, and we're going to be taking your suggestions and bringing them to the show. So this should be a really fun experience, and I hope you'll join us for the whole ride from start to finish, because, again, we're going to look at the planning process, the cruise itself, and then after the cruise, kind of critique everything and see what worked, what didn't work, and share that with all of you. So we think this is going to be a very fun little show, and we welcome you with us, and hopefully we'll be seeing much more of you, and stay tuned for some future episodes. That's it. Enjoy.